Yo, what is up, guys? As usual, it's your boy Lahima here. Today we're going to be going over math rock, aka Midwest emo harmony. So if you know what Midwest emo harmony is, it's essentially a style of guitar playing popularized by a whole bunch of rock bands in the 2000s, like My Plain White Tees, My Chemical Romance, and my personal favorite, Green Day. But before we go and hop into it, if you haven't already, gonna make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button to stay notified when I post new stuff. Also, you're already gonna make sure to hit that like button and comment down below and let me know what your favorite rock band from the 2000s was. And lastly, and most importantly, make sure you join the Discord. The link is gonna be down below. Join the gang, join the family, and come pal around with us. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop in. So first things first, if you already kind of don't have a good understanding of music theory, I'm going to leave a playlist in the description card either here or over here that you can check out. That will just get you caught up so that way you won't be too lost in this video. So I figured that the best way to learn this style of harmony is just to see it being used in action. So in front of us, I have my homie's track, Bryce Bishop, who's an amazing artist. He makes super dope Midwest emo trap music. And we'll leave a description to his YouTube channel and this track in the description card below. But we're going to be using his track as a frame of reference. And below that, I have just the song written out in parts so we can see how he's breaking down the song and the harmony he's using around it, which is really dope and super in the style. So let's go ahead and give the first 16 bars a listen and then break that down.
Happy, like the way you used to be when we would talk about the future, smell the summer in the trees, but now it's winter and a lot of time has passed. It's been a year and a half. I hope you haven't moved past.
So there's already a lot to pack in that 16 bars. But the first and probably most important big tip I have for making Midwest emo harmony is the key of the song. You will notice that pretty much all Midwest emo harmony / math rock is in one of two keys, which is E major or A major. And the reason for that is that most of the music is based around guitar, and a lot of those chords that are in E major have easy voicing on guitar, which we call open voicing, which means you can leave some strings open or have them play them and they still make the chord. So those are the two most popular keys. And ironically, Bryce's song is actually in E major, which is pretty much common throughout all his songs. It's a major part of the harmony. So the first 60 bars is actually very simple. The bass is only playing actually 4 notes. The first half of the bass note progression goes E, G sharp, and then A. The second half is repeated, but at the end he just adds a B. So what Bryce is doing here is actually doing something called implied chords. So implied chords is essentially when you only play the root note of the chord, but it feels as if you're playing the whole chord because you're implying the whole chord by playing the root note. So let me show you an example. So the last thing I want to mention about this kind of first 16 bars is actually the chord progression that he's playing. Because when we look at it, we can see there's actually a pretty common trend that's going to also continue out through the rest of the song. And that being that most of his chord progressions end on 4 or 5. Most commonly 4. So if we look at the first 16 bars here, we can clearly see that the first chord progression goes 1, 3, 4, and that 4 goes back into a 1. And then at the end of that same chord progression, there is a 5, which goes back into 1. And even throughout the rest of the song, you'll see that he is basically only playing 2 chords, which is 1, 4, 1. And that's my next big tip, which is having your chord progressions end on 4 or 5, particularly 4 as the most predominant chord progression you will hear, which is 1, 4, 1. And the reason for that being is that the 4 chord works as more like a middleman. It's not too climactic, nor is it too dull. While the 5 chord is very climactic, and it's usually used for transitioning from one part of a song to another, which is what we see here. Because as we can see, when he goes into the chorus, he plays the 5 chord to transition into the 1 again, but now we're in the chorus, he wants to build up a little more energy. So lastly, let's take a listen to the little melody he has playing on top of the chords. So one thing to note about the melody that's playing on top of the chords is that at any given time as it's playing, it's at least playing one chord tone of the chord that it's playing on top of. So for example, when we look at the first bar of the melody, it's playing on top of an E major chord, and we can see that all these notes are actually in the E major chord. Well, this D sharp here makes it an E major 7, so it works. Then here, over the G sharp minor, the B, G sharp, and D sharp are all chord tones. While the while the E is not. So that's the only non-chord tone, but it's still playing primarily chord tones. And then lastly, we have this A major here, or second to last, we have this A major here, which is playing an E, which is the only chord tone. And then for the B major, we have this B and G sharp, which are also chord tones. And this is my next big tip, which is have a short, repetitive melody that plays along with the chords most of the time. As you can see in this case, as the melody was playing, it always at least had about a note or two that were actually inside the chord, which is what makes it work. And this is what gives this song its kind of catchy feeling, because the melodies are always repeating, and you can kind of sing along with it. But yeah, with that being said, now let's get into the chorus. So there's a couple cool things about the chorus that we can hear just straight off the bat. The first thing is that everything is being arpeggiated through, which is my next big tip. Make sure you arpeggiate through all your chords. You don't really want to play through your chords straight up like block chords like you want in piano. You want to play each note individually, and usually in eighth notes. Also, along with that, we can hear that the chords that are being played are very similar to the intro, which he's playing 1-4, 1-4. So he's just playing a plagal cadence once again that we heard in the intro, but he's doing a little bit of extra funky stuff to make it sound a lot different. So let's see what he does. So let's start off by giving the guitar melody that we kind of hear in the left side of the ear a listen, and just see how it sounds. So the chord progression that plays here is actually pretty similar to the intro, which is just 1-4, 1-4. But in the first half, what he does is that he plays one little special chord that makes this part stand out, which is this chord here. And this chord is a E sus2 or sus chord, which is super common in this style. You see it all the time. So this is my next big tip, which is to use sus chords in your chord progression, especially when you're repeating kind of a similar idea. That will help mix it up, but also keep the same feeling going. And you'll once again see that sus chords, particularly sus2s, are super popular in Midwest emo/math rock. They're pretty much used all the time. But when we hear him play the chords in the song, once again he arpeggiates through the chord, but he doesn't actually play all of the notes of the chord. So let's see what he does. So when he's actually arpeggiating through the chord, he does a couple interesting things. The first thing that he does is that he leaves out certain notes. So for example, when we look at all these chords here, which is his E major chords, we see that he never plays the B of the chords, he never plays the 5 of the chord, and you'll see that happen a lot. In pretty much every chord that he plays, he never plays the 5 when he's actually playing through it. Also, along with that, he doubles certain notes. So for example, these first two bars here, he plays the high E along with the low E down below. And then also along with that, he doubles this G here in the higher octave when he has one in the lower octave. Then when we jump over to the A major chord in the second half of the first half of the chorus, he plays this A on the bottom, which is the root of the chord. Then he has this G, E, and G, but he never plays the 5. He never plays the C sharp again. And then when we look at the second half of the chorus, it's pretty much most of the same thing. All he does here is that he just plays the E an octave higher, just to kind of switch it up. So from the chorus, we can determine a couple good techniques. So the first one is to use doubling. And by that I mean is taking one note that already exists inside the chord and just putting it an octave above and playing that. Super simple, and it's really easy, and it'll give your song a sense of twinkle and sparkle by having those higher notes in the higher register. The next one, and probably the biggest one, is that when you're arpeggiating through the chord, is to not play the 5th note of the chord. It will give the chord a sense of openness, and it will make it sound a lot more relaxed than it would be normally by leaving out that 5th note of the chord. And also, along with that, you can add in the 7th or the 9th as well in the chord, and that way you'll have some extra kind of, interesting notes to kind of spruce it up like he does with that A major chord. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. If you guys like this style of music, definitely using a combination of all these techniques will really help you kind of flesh out your song and also help you kind of get the sound and make it sound authentic. But yeah, with that being said, if you guys kind of like seeing these type of videos where I take a song and kind of break it down melodically so that way you guys can see what's going on, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. Suggest a song and I'll definitely hop on and do it for you guys. Also, once again, if you haven't already, go to make sure to join the Discord, come talk to your boy, compiling with the gang. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lahimi Beats. I post cool content all the time, like gear reviews and stuff I'm working on. And also, we're gonna make sure to subscribe once again, comment, and like the video as well. Last and not least, pretty soon here, guys, I'm gonna be dropping a new sample pack. I'm working on a new website, kind of getting some details and stuff together. But I'm going to drop a demo of the sample pack in the Discord. So if you join the Discord, you'll get a huge part of the sample pack for free. You don't have to pay for it, and all the sounds are made by yours truly. And the pack's going to be huge. It's probably over like 120 sounds now. I haven't checked in a minute, but it's super crazy big, and you'll definitely find tons of use out of everything. So yeah, join the Discord so you can get stuff for free. And yeah, guys, with that being said, I hope to see you guys soon. Lahima, out.